Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Thornburg, and this video is for those parents who are feeling overwhelmed. It is a very common occurrence to be in parenthood and to get absolutely overwhelmed. We have kids that are coming up, you have little children, there's a lot of needs, and then as they get older, they have their needs, and at the same time, your parents might be becoming more frail, needing more attention, and then they have end-of-life issues, and then there's just jobs, friends, and your own well-being and taking care of yourself. So at times, parenting can get very, very overwhelming. So this video is for you. I'm sharing from my past. I have 8 kids. During their formative years, when my youngest was 2 to 3 years old, we went through a divorce. Then I was single parenting 8 kids. Sometimes I had money for help at the house, and other times I was up at 5 a.m. making sure breakfast and lunches were done, kids were off to school, their clothes were clean, and then I was up until 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, doing laundry and making sure that the house was operating well. And other times I got to have some help because I could have a couple extra dollars and I could throw it, or maybe the grandparents came over. I was living in a brave new world. I didn't have extended family here. So it was a solo man job, one man show. And during this time, my mom died, my dad died, my partner here in the practice passed away. He was older. And so then I was taking on 2 practices and raising 8 kids 50% of the time, if not more. I am in the trenches, 100% in the trenches. And these are a couple of the tips that I used that I will share with you. One is every morning I used to sit and just do sitting meditations. I would ground myself out. Sometimes I'd have to do it twice a day. Sometimes I even did it at lunchtime. I would just sit and calm myself and breathe deeply. Sometimes I was so overwhelmed before I came to work, I would literally sit in the parking lot next door to my office and I would just have a good cry and I would just calm myself down. And then once I started to help people, then I would forget about my own pain and I would enjoy life again. And that is one of the biggest messages I could share. Life is about sacrificing for your children, sacrificing for your family, sacrificing for your work. And you have to do that, but you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself at the same time. I used to be the medical director of the child abuse team here in my county, in Collier County, and I did child abuse work for about 12 years. I also had my pediatric practice during the same time. And there was something called, and it still is there, called Leadership Collier, where they would take leaders around the county at different walks of life, and they would move them through the different services that were provided. I believe it's a 1-year rotation that you go and learn about all of the different aspects of our county, and that's why it's called Leadership County. They took leaders out and then they would move them through, so there was a broader understanding of what services and how we can assist the community. And a police captain asked me when we were at the women's shelter, asked me specifically how I dealt with the stress of everything. He didn't know anything about my past. He was just asking person to person, somebody who's dealing with the underbelly of life, seeing the worst part of our society on the daily basis. And he just wanted to know how I went home every day. And this correlates in because as a parent, while we're not dealing, hopefully, with the underbellies of life, it is still just a stressful, overwhelming, beautiful experience. And you have to have a way to compartmentalize. And that was my answer, is I had a great team around me. I sacrificed for them. They sacrificed for me. We worked together. And that's how we dealt with the worst of the worst. And that's the same experience I want to share with you that might be going through difficult times and all of those things I mentioned before about how life can just layer on like a nasty deck of cards all over you and you just can't get out from behind it. Remember, center yourself, exercise, eat right, do what you got to do. This time will pass because it is just part of the journey. And remember, at times I was not the best parent, and meaning I would yell because I was overwhelmed. But the beautiful part, and I've said this before, when you go back and speak truth to somebody, that erases the past. And that's what I've done with my kids on those days that I was ugly. I have gone back and I have talked to them about that now that they're older, and they appreciate it. It's kind of like I tell parents about the boogeyman under the bed. At 4 and 5 years old, we all 100% thought there was a monster under the bed. You couldn't have told us different. We were freaked out. But as we got older and we could understand that that was our imagination at work, as my kids got older and they could understand that there are different kind of layers and perceptions and different needs from different people, then they could appreciate why I was so overstressed out, because that was a situation. It was not me in my best position. It was not me in my best standing, but it was understandable. They could heal from it. I could heal from it. Of course, we now joke about it. My kids will say there is no trip unless dad starts yelling, because as you're moving 8 kids around, there's definitely some stress when you're moving 8 kids around. But now we turn it into a joke because we healed. Because when you speak the truth and you heal, then it goes forward. So remember, things pass. Life is overwhelming at times. Being a parent is one of the most beautiful and rewarding jobs, and you will get overwhelmed. But just remember to put it back into perspective. We are doing the best we can at every moment, and take care of yourself, love your children, and make sure that you speak from the heart so you can erase the nastiness of the past and you rewrite it with true healing. And just take care of yourself. Thanks.